At first, I'd like to thank Polish people and organizer about great support which they provide to Ukrainian people generally and Ukrainian IT community too. We appreciate it very much. So, as for PSV Game Studio, we are one of top 10 developers and publishers of mobile casual games for kids, with about 200 apps published both in App Store and Google Play. Total downloads of our account is about 800 million over the last few years. We are from Ukraine, and we used to have 4 offices, one headquarters small in Cyprus and 3 big in Ukraine, Kharkiv, Chernivtsi and Mykolaiv. Our Kharkiv office was damaged by missile, and Mykolaiv office was closed from the very beginning of this crazy war. We have been lucky to evacuate most of our personnel to Chernivtsi, and then we continue work. But some of our people work still under the bomb strike. But during next 25 missiles, or 25 minutes, I will be sharing my ideas about ads monetization. I will include some advice which will hopefully help you not to shoot yourself in the foot while integrating and setting up your ads monetization. Then we will take a short look into some of most popular mediation platforms. And then we will try to understand to choose the mediation. Before we dive in, I'd like to say that monetization can be generally divided into 2 big parts. One is internal part and external part. Internal part is what about inside the app, is about ad types and the ad placement. The most important things are, and most important KPIs there are ads per DAU, daily active users, and ads engagement. From the other part, external part, is about waterfalls, is about ECP, buildings, price floor, and so on. This is a responsibility of ads monetization manager. Both parts are very important, and they should work together in harmony. When one part works incorrectly, then you will lose your profit, and all monetization process will be totally damaged. Today we will focusing on the external part of the monetization. So I imagine that our internal part is great, is perfect, and our game designer is the best of the best of the best. Generally, there are 4 ways to integrate ads into your app. The first one is the easiest, is to use one ad network. Add mob, unit ads, or Facebook, or something another. It's the easiest way. Another way is to create in-house mediation solution. It's the hardest way. You should make a lot of different work. It's really crazy. Third way is use classical mediation platform. It is some kind of compromise. Using classical mediation platform significantly increases revenue compared to one ad network system, and it decreases development time compared to in-house mediation. And the fourth one is programmatic mediation. In my humble opinion, it is the future of the mediation. It eliminates 95% of handwork which you should do if you use classical mediation solution. Now let's go directly to tips and tricks. I want to notice that most part of these tips and tricks are for classical mediation solution, because 95% of users now are using classical mediations. So the first tip is that AdMob is not only one ad network. Yes, it's number one. As I said before, some people use one ad network. Mostly this one is Google AdMob. Using AdMob as a single ad network, very suitable only in small tools like cleaners and VPNs, something like this. In other site, in any other option, this option is not very good. However, about 50% of apps use AdMob as a single, and this is absolutely not effective. Using classical or programmatic mediation can increase your app up to 200%. Your revenue can be increased 3 times. Don't waste your time by trying to create new solutions. The market can provide you with free solutions which can free a lot of your time for more interesting activities than trying to reinvent the wheel. So my second advice is to use ad monetization, namely a professional packaged mediation platform. The role of ad mediation is to create honest competition between ad networks. If you are using proper mediation solutions, your ad revenue should be always as high as possible. Also, mediation is the only normal way to decrease ACPM decay. The third tip is about micromanagement. Micromanagement is extremely important. It can increase your revenue up to 25%. Here are some tips on micromanagement. The best practice in our mediation solution, for example, is to create a separate waterfall for normal and less of tracking users for every country. It takes a lot of time, but it's worth it. Here we can see an example. This is example of Google AdMob setup for every country. We are using different price floor. You should use. Now I'm going to the price floors, and you should use price floors or target ACPM calls correctly. There are 3 absolutely important rules about configuring the waterfall. The first one is to arrange price floors both in ad networks and in ad mediation platform. The second rule is that you should set up the floor separately for each country, for each geo, and for each user cohort, paying or non-paying, less of tracking or normal tracked, and so on. And the third rule is that your floors must create some kind of sandwich. This means that every floor should be set for a different ads network. In this example, we can see the optimum waterfall should look like. I would like to say that here are not all the networks. Some other networks are in bidding. Next micromanagement tip. If you don't have bidding, make a reasonable amount of calls for each ad network. This is very important regarding AdMob. Very important not to use more than 3 calls to Google AdMob. If you use bigger amount of calls, you are at high risk of AdMob pessimization. In other networks, there are no such strict internal regulations. However, the best practice is to use about 8 calls for Iron Source, AppLovin, and Unity ads. I also highly recommend using the bidding model whenever you can. Here we can see the typical number of the calls for the big 5 ad networks in AppLovin max mediation. So Google 3 calls, Iron Source Unity 8, and Facebook and AppLovin are in bidding. The first tip is to integrate several networks in order to boost the competition. You should integrate as many networks as you can, but don't overload your waterfall. In programmatic solution, it is the robot's responsibility. But for classical mediation solutions, such as AdMob, IronSource, or UpLavin Max, my recommendation is to use one call for 1,000 daily impressions per country. However, even in top geo, for example, in USA, I recommend limit your waterfall up to 40, 60 placement due to latency reasons. In proper mediation, you should probably have a new ad which with the best price ready to show in 30 seconds after the show in previous one. Given that, it's very important to integrate only those ad networks which are suitable especially for you, for your app, for your audience, for your geos. In any case, I recommend to use big five of ad networks in any adult application or mobile game. They are Google AdMob, Facebook, IronSource, UpLavin, and Unity Ads. If your DAU is strong enough, then add to them Pangle, Mintegral, and Wangle. Also, Tencent is good there. If your app performs great in Tier 1 countries, then you should add Smarto, Tapjoy, and Verizon Media. In Tier 3 countries, adding AdColony and InMobi increase your revenue significantly. If your app used to perform in Russia, you should show those user war crimes in Bucha. The fifth tip, don't clone several ad placements for one ad format. In some cases, developers use several calls in order to separate each call for analytics purposes. Actually, it doesn't make any sense because you can use only any normal analytics software, and it gives you much more information about, much more data. You will lose your revenue in such kind of integration. If you will have three placements, for example, for rewarded video, you most probably will receive the same responses for them. This means that if your user will see all three placements, you will show one ad 3 times. It will limit user experience. Also, the eCPM decay for these users will be much higher. You can lose up to 75% of the revenue of the third impression. But if you use one placement for all rewarded ads, you will receive your ads one after another, and the mediation algorithm will help you to minimize your eCPM decay. The sixth tip, don't forget receive user consent for personalized ads. User consent is a critical tip for ads revenue increase. It allows to show personalized ad to users. It also means that if you integrate any classical mediation without user consent dialog, you are at high risk of huge penalty according to EU and US regulation. In any case, it's much better to show user consent dialogue than not to show it. And you can find that typical dialogue sample on this slide. At last but not least tip is for, about app ads.txt. We were very surprised that, in fact, some developers forgot to submit app ads.txt in their website or forgot to keep them updated. And they lose money because of it. Keep this in mind. Actually, if you don't have your own website, you can use a free site on which you can see on the right angel, right down angel. Now we are moving about making the choice of the mediation. I forgot about app ads.txt. Here we can see the sample. This is one app before and after integrating app ads.txt. The number of users was actually the same, but we can see that eCPM grows significantly. We find the growth up to 10, 12%, only adding up ads.txt. Now we are going to the last part, and we take a look about main mediation platforms which are in the market. What is the most important criteria for choosing? Firstly, of course, this is a profit, revenue. Lots of junior development think that eCPM is the main measurement criteria. This is a big mistake. The best criteria for the mediation comparison are AD RPU and ads LTV. There are also some very important criteria which I will speak right now. First one is multi-GR and bidding support. Second is how easy to integrate the SDK. Third, how difficult is to set up waterfall? Do you need to create and manage account in each ad network? Very important criteria is support response time. One of the most important is vitals up ANR and crash rate. If you have bad vitals, you will have bad organic in Google and Apple. Is it independent or affiliated platform is the sixth point. How about user-friendly dashboard and interface level? Also important is custom-tailored approach to clients, financial and service flexibility, and granular reporting possibility. Let's take a look for each mediation solution, each popular mediation solution. First one is Google AdMob. It's the most popular, it's the biggest. They don't charge any direct commission. They are very easy to integrate. They have low INR and crash rate, but last version was not so good. They have free cross promotion. And now we go to their disadvantages. It's very, very long support. It's very difficult to get any support. You should set up your waterfalls manually. And it is affiliated with the Google AdMob network. Next two networks are Uplovin Max and Iron Source. Actually, these competitors look like twins. They both have user-friendly interface. They don't charge any commissions. They have low ANR and crash rate. Some disadvantages are common too. They have manual setup and management, and they are, of course, affiliated with Uplovin and Iron Source. The weak point of Uplovin is work with the small developers. You should have at least 10,000 DAU for an opening hybrid model. Also, you cannot cross-promote your app through this mediation. Iron Source charge commission for cross-promotion. But the biggest disadvantage for Iron Source, as for me, this is its support, where you might have wait for response up to 48 hours. Unfortunately, I don't have much experience with Unity mediation. It, of course, have good fill rate in energy and, of course, affiliated with Unity ads. The support level of Unity is better than Iron Source and Max. Now we are going to programmatic mediations. The advantages are they are programmatic. They have one SDK for all ad networks. They are extremely easy to integrate. They have responsive support and free cross promotion. But they both charge commission. The biggest question for Appadil is its stability. They have valuable ANR rate. Also, it affiliated with Appadil bid machine. The last platform is Clever Solution. This is actually our platform. We have one account. We are absolutely independent. We are not affiliated with any ad network. And we have free intellectual cross-promotion. As for our disadvantages now, I should accept that interface and customization are our weak points. and we are working to improve the interface. Now you can choose what kind of solution you should use, manual or automatic. Just like in a car, you can do some special tricks using manual gear, but automatic shift is preferable for me anyway. Most mediators have affiliated ad networks, so they will have a conflict of interest. Publisher wants to maximize his ads revenue, but affiliated ad network wants to win the auction with the minimum bid. So, which one is better? How to choose the proper platform? There is no any right answer. The only right answer is that you should A/B test them. How you should test? How should you test? You should test them at the same time in the same app. You have to have two versions of the app. So the best practice is a stage rollout in Google Play, where can you roll out your new release for example, for 50% of audience. I recommend use it in app with DAU more than 2,000 users. It significantly decreases your testing time. And again, I want to say that you should compare not ACPM but ADRPU, because only average daily revenue per user is a normal criteria for the management of your profit. However, if you don't trust some new mediation platforms, then you can run A/B test on your average app, not the top one, or assign small percentage of traffic to a new platform. Now we are going to the next slide. And finally, my recommendation is to use independent programmatic platforms with a hybrid mediation model. Such platforms work better than other solutions due to machine learning, big data, and smart segmentation. We find the best price offer for each impression. So use these tips and tricks for ads monetization and enjoy the cash flow. Thank you very much for your attention. If you have some questions. Yes.
Sorry, we have two prizes for the best questions. Best two questions. So feel free to get it. This beautiful power bank.
Do you have any questions?
Did you actually had some sort of clients, or have you ever met someone who tried more than 3 ad mob calls?
Of course, there are such cases. Actually, it means that, for example, if you have used 3 ad mob calls, your ACPM was about $15, for example, in United States. But if you're using 7 calls, you will have 80 or 90 ACPM for 2 or 3 days, and then your ACPM will drop up to 5 or 3. It's the ad mob practice.
Oh.
As far as I understand, your network is clever enough.
Yeah.
So how it works? I mean, it's a programmatic solution.
Yeah.
So does it mean that I just connect the uploads to other ad networks and everything is done by your software?
Yes. Actually, it is even easier. You connect only one SDK, and we connect all ad networks, and you don't have to even register in every ad network. We do it manually. We have accounts in each ad network and publish these apps from our accounts.
Yeah, but the whole optimization of the ad networks is done by you.
Yes, of course, of course, of course. This is the sense of monetization. You just integrate the app, integrate the SDK. You tell us what type of impressions you will have, ad types, rewarded, interstitial, banners, and that's all.
Okay, and the money from the ad networks come to you, or
Yeah.
and so we got the money from you.
Yes,
directly
yes,
from
yes,
the okay.
yes.
And what is the revenue?
We take 10% commission. Actually, the best way in this situation is to A/B test us, because yes, AdMob is free, but AdMob takes about if you use AdMob mediation, for example, you will revenue split will about 75% to AdMob. This is not fair. Actually, normal split of AdMob mediation is about AdMob network is about 30-25%. All other is unfair, as for me.
Do you have real example about other some company who transfer apps?
Yes, of course. Andrew will show it after because we have even some video with these guys which integrate us. Actually, the best way is not to go to us and integrate it in all apps. Try to A/B test us in one app. One app with 2,000 DAU or more, 2 weeks, and you will understand our advantages and disadvantages.
Okay, and what is potential growth of the revenue?
I don't know what kind of mediation you are. Only AdMob only.
No, the unity price for
I think 25-30%, approximately. I do.
minus your 10% of the revenue. Relation.
It's your net increase.
Okay.
You just need to try it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Oleg, for your presentation. It's a very interesting topic.